Morning, everyone. So good to see quite a few young and ambitious folks here, the future graduates, full of purpose, filled with enthusiasm, bubbling with enthusiasm, like probably carrying the leftover energy from last night's assignments while combining with the excitement of making this event successful. So thank you so much, everyone, for showing up. At this point of time, I can kind of see quite a few of future graduates who are about to dive into a new world of offer letters, rejection emails, a world of appraisals, a world of startup pitch decks. Maybe like kind of you'd be working on your own startup, or you might be kind of like be a core part or leadership team of your friend's startup, or you might pick something like kind of how you might get into a world of mysterious calendar invites that say quick sync up, showcasing every now and then. So, welcome to that new world. At this point of time of your career, you might be staring down at four possible, very different doors. Number one, some of you might be looking at pursuing your masters, gearing up for your MS, like MS in US or Canada, or like prepping up for that GRE examinations. Like, who all have known balance here? Yeah, working on balance, like looking at English vocabulary, like kind of half of the words, trust me, half of the words would be totally useless for you guys in future, but you'd have to like clear the GRE examination, like mugging up those. So that's the first door. Or door number two, you might be aspiring for your favorite MBA college, like be it an IIM or ISB. Or door number three, you might be looking at working in the Fortune 500 companies, the likes of Google's and Microsoft's of the world. Or lastly, the possibility of like you silently working on logos, designing of your own startup while pretending to attend classes. So it might be one of these four doors that you might be walking. And incidentally, I have been through all these four doors, not in a straight line, not by purpose, but by learning, unlearning, and becoming a new version of myself at every single turn of the journey. So today I want to like walk you through the four doors and the four life lessons that I have learned throughout my journey. And I hope like some of those lessons might be helpful to you at the turn of your journey. So if there is one thing that I have learned throughout kind of learning my journey, one common piece that I have seen is you have to shed your old life, you have to shed your old self while trying to become a new one. You have to like kind of set the old door on fire while opening up a new one. Because you cannot become the new version of yourself while you're still clinging on to your old self. So that's one key learning that I have seen throughout. So while I first left India to pursue my masters in US, it was I thought I was sitting on to something great, and it was in a ways that I didn't expect. The real learning didn't happen in the lectures. The real learning happened in the middle of the classes, in the middle of those cold nights where I truly questioned myself. Do I truly belong here, or am I meant for something else, something different? The homesick calls, talking to parents every single day, but everything, all those feelings and emotions trumped by that one feeling, trumped by that, kind of opaque feeling, all my seniors and peers were falling through, like the chase for H1B visas, the lottery for green cards. So trying to be there, kind of like be there, settle in US, that was the whole stream. That was the only thing on top of my back then. And post-masters, I did the obvious, like most of the people in US would do, start looking at like, one consultancy and start working in US. I started working in Chicago and then went on to apply for a bigger company in Boston. And it was again like high rises, glass towers. Like I was working on 78th floor of the tallest skyscraper in Boston with a lake view. I was literally like waking up at 6 a.m. in the morning, holding a Starbucks coffee, walking through 0 degrees, holding a long suit. And that was a real mechanical lifestyle, and it actually taught me something beautiful. It didn't teach me strategy or skill, but it actually taught me the discipline. And that it's not kind of a glamorous motivation, but it's a boring discipline. And that's when I learned my first time to kill over weekends. I said like, let me also chip in. So I joined as a founding member of that company, started working on that mobile application, learned a new, that was the time where Angry Birds, Subway Surfers, Temple Run were runner successes. So that's when I thought, let me start learning my own mobile app and started building that. And this was about like close to 14 years ago. So built that startup and released the first mobile application, which incidentally went viral in US. And then these guys asked me to come back to India. And that was a very big decision of my life. I was properly settled in Boston, and I had to call my parents, and my father told me something really beautiful. He said, when we actually took a bank loan and sent you to US, it was not the door that we are betting on, it's the person who walks out of that door. So that really stuck by me. So I took that leap of faith. I packed my baggage, my doubts along with my dreams, and came back to India. It was literally shift from Boston to Begumpet. So literally from a 5,000 square feet townhouse to a small 2-bedroom in Ameerpet. So we have 4 people living in that room, no AC, no HR, no funding obviously. So we were like surviving on Maggie and chai, and that belief that we are probably, kind of building something that mattered. And we built that company, and we became one of the first companies in Hyderabad to cross $1 million revenue only on iOS apps back then. So that's how we built that company, and it was such a successful breakthrough. And a couple of years ago, that particular company was acquired by K-Fintech. So it was a great journey, and that taught me my second lesson. I was not a co-founder there. I was not even a CEO or anything. It was just that purpose. I deeply cared about that vision. I was a founding team member. I deeply cared about vision. I deeply cared about the purpose of what we are building. In fact, that was also the time where I believed that whenever I started my own company, I never chased titles like CXO, CEOs, but put together a group of people who build that vision, and that's how Adonmo is also being run today. We don't have a single person in the company who has a CXO title, by the way. So that's how the first startup journey, Web Labs journey happened. And while working out there at Web Labs in the mornings, after coding at 2 a.m. and getting 4 hours sleep, I used to get up again and start preparing for my GMAT because I believed I didn't do enough of learning for myself. So that's when I used to code until 2 a.m. and start working on sentence corrections at 6 a.m. I finally cracked my GMAT and walked into ISB. I was full of confidence when I walked into ISB. It was one of the finest B schools of the country, and I was full of my startup stories. And the moment I walked in, here is what the classroom looked like. On my left, there is an army colonel who worked in Kargil War. On my right, there is someone who has been a commentator for Crick Heroes, Crick Info. And somewhere across the room, there was a person who built a BMW engine. So I felt seriously humbled. I was born and brought up with, I was brought up with all the engineering classmates around throughout my career. Suddenly it felt such a big reality check looking at people from different walks of life. And that's when I learned my third important lesson in, in the entire career journey. It's not about the success, is just a mindset. It's not about chasing ranks. I've been always chasing ranks of be it in school, college, MSET you all know, or be it in GMAT, be it in US, it's always about chasing grades and ranks. But true success is always about the mindset. It's about becoming the better version of yourself. It's not about defeating someone else. So that was a great learning for me at ISB, and it has been a fantastic journey. I was in the middle of all these late night assignments, in the middle of badminton and fantastic parties on campus. I found myself running something called IDEA, the social impact event of ISB, one of the most flagship events, and we have blown it out of proportion. We have taken it to a different level, and I was lucky to be honored as the top 1% of the leaders of ISB as a young leader award. And post that, I joined Microsoft, and I thought that's it. That's my last voyage of my career. It felt so beautiful. It felt so poetic that an Indian boy kind of out there, studied in US, worked in US, came back, and just then Satya became the CEO. Satyanarayana became the CEO. It was a fantastic journey. I thought that's the last stint. I genuinely thought I'm going to retire out of Microsoft. But fate had different plans. So 3 years into Microsoft, a new started. I thought I should solve something out there in the real world. That's where I met my co-founder Sandeep. So we both, after office hours, we were scribbling on paper napkins on what to solve in outdoor advertising world. And that's when we built something called Adonmo. We started with the taxi topper displays. We built something really fantastic, having digital displays which are cloud connected on top of taxis, and it was going quite fine. Everything was going hunky dory. We got great investors, the investors from Microsoft, the investors from Uber India. In fact, one of the first clients, Mr. Rajmouli, invested with us after advertising for Bahubali with us. So it was a fantastic journey out there until COVID hit. The entire taxis went to a halt. So we literally were on identity crisis. That's when we pivoted ourselves. We pivoted from taxi toppers to elevator media. We believed in ourselves. We believed that the entire vision, the purpose that we are building is more important than one particular medium out there. That's when we pivoted from taxi toppers to lift lobby screens. And today we are omnipresent with with more than 50,000 screens in 25 cities, and we are about $100 million company. And I genuinely believe that we are just getting started. So that's a little about my journey. And between these four doors of juggling, kind of be it MS, be it MBA, be it, kind of a startup, be it in the corporate world, one thing that I truly learned is it's always about the grit. It's always about the resolve that you have. It's never about the success being carved for you in a straight line. If you believe that you have a purpose out there, if you believe that you have something that you would like to achieve out there, do not stop for having a clear path out there. So perfection is always trumped by your courage, it's always trumped by what you want to achieve and your resolve. That matters a lot more than what you're building. That matters a lot more than all the doubts and all the self-doubt that you have throughout the journey. So if you are out there, if you're thinking of something that you want to build, something that you want to accomplish in future, and if you're having a self-doubt, just get rid of that. Just get started. Let it be a first small step. Let it be a flawed attempt. That's fine. And everything is going to fall in place because that's not the end of the world. The only bridge that is going to, kind of stay between what you are right now and what you want to be is not built by perfection. It's built by courage and your willingness to try. And right after, kind of this stage is done, or when the lights are off here, when you get into the real world, when everything gets loud and clear, whatever door that you choose, always ensure that there is always a turn where you get, where you get to become the better version of yourself. So try and ensure you get to that grit, you always believe in yourself, and ensure you do not worry about the self-doubt that's been bugging you. The path might not be perfect, but your courage is going to get you there. And that process of learning, unlearning, and becoming is going to truly shape what you are meant to be. Jai Hind. Thank you.